Okay, we're going live. Hey, welcome into the Snap, your source for fantasy football news. Now look, we're not doing any fantasy football stuff today, but we do have the whole crew here. Mac, myself, Lando, my co-host, and our producer, Scotty. Everyone's here. Boys, Championship Sunday, NFC Championship, AFC Championship. We're starting off today, 3:05 Eastern Standard Time with the Packers and the Bucs, and then moving on to later this evening, Bills and Chiefs. Going to be a fantastic slate of games today. I think both these teams match up really, really well, and I am excited. So we're going to break down any important news going on today, then move on to some interesting matchups, predictions for the game, as well as some rookie talk to round out the hour. Lando, what's going on, buddy?
I'm good. I'm in between a Bucs jersey and a Packers jersey. I'm excited for the slate of games. There's some great matchups today. I told Scott when we did our podcast that really I just want everyone to be healthy. I don't want to see a backup quarterback in Kansas City. I wouldn't want to see a backup quarterback in Tampa Bay. It doesn't matter who I'm rooting for. I want to see some good football. I'm excited today. There's some great games here. Not too many injuries. I hope Mahomes is fully healthy. We'll talk about that in a second. But either way, I'm excited for championship football. This is almost the best weekend in football. Even better than Super Bowl, in my opinion.
One more game.
That's it.
Scotty, what's going on?
Oh man, I'm absolutely psyched. And so is my dog apparently. We're down to the point where I was filling out our DraftKings weekly lineup, and what I realized is there's no bad teams left. There's just no bad teams, and we will be set for some absolutely epic football today. And it was hard to try to pick against teams, but with my Vikes really deep into draft research mode, I'm happy to bust out the Derek Brooks from my childhood, as he was my favorite NFL player when I thought I had a future as an NFL linebacker to try to idolize. That did not pan out, but I am full fire the cannons mode. So last week was a lot of fun, and I think watching Tom Brady and that Tampa Bay defense today against your Cheeseheads should be some fun, Mac.
I have a confession. When I was a young lad, I used to go down and visit my grandma and grandpa in Tampa Bay quite frequently, and they both were big Bucs supporters. This was around the time that they pulled off that Super Bowl win with Mike Allstott and co. I had myself a Keyshawn Johnson jersey, and I used to rip it all the time when I was down there. And then I learned, I got a little bit smart. So at a time in my day, I was sporting the red.
I believe the past host Mark repped a Keyshawn Johnson jersey to almost every event in high school and elementary school that you could possibly wear a Keyshawn Johnson jersey to.
Well, let's start here with our two teams, Scotty. Packers and the Buccaneers. Bucs going up to Lambeau. This is the first time in Aaron Rodgers' 5 trips to the NFC Championship where he has had a home game. And this is the second time he's had a top 10 defense. When they won the Super Bowl in 2010, that Green Bay Packers defense was ranked 9th. Right now, currently ranked 5th. So this is arguably the best defense that Aaron Rodgers has ever had. The weather today in Green Bay is only going to be about 30 degrees and a good chance of snow. So we will probably see a snow game up there in Lambeau, but not as cold as once thought. We were thinking maybe we'll see something in the 20s, early, low 20s, 22, 24 degrees. It's going to be closer to 30. So in terms of Celsius, only 1 or 2 below. That probably fares a little bit better for Tom Brady, but you guys are still going up to Lambeau.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing about these Tampa Bay Buccaneers is when I was looking at the weather forecast, because Lambeau, cold, Aaron Rodgers, he's not going to be affected by that. The Packers won't be affected.
Statistically not affected by that.
Kind of in bolt. Exactly, that's the thing. Like you throw that out the window for the Packers side. If anything, it emboldens them. You look at the other side. They're the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They should be a fair weather team, but it's Tom Brady. It's Rob Gronkowski. It's a lot of guys that they have played in cold weather their whole career. And I was actually talking to Landon about the matchup this week, and one thing I said is if the Bucs are going to win this, I think Tom Brady, has to do what Tom Brady does in the playoffs, and he has to make his throws. He needs to make drives. But the way I see this game actually, coming to a head is I could see Brady orchestrating one of his signature drives, but leaving like 5 minutes on the clock, and everybody thinks Aaron Rodgers is going to come down the field. And I still think the Buccaneers are just on defense. When they decide to show up, guys like Levante David, they have it in them to wreck face. And I could see this game coming down to Aaron Rodgers going for that drive that everybody assumes he's going to make. And then I could see somebody like Levante David at the 2-minute mark just jumping up, like a tip drill, and falling on the ball. That's kind of the only way I see them winning this. I think if they go offense versus offense, I wouldn't want to use that game strategy against that juggernaut of the Packers. But I do think we have the edge on defense. And I could see Tampa making one play that people don't expect to end it in their favor. If not, then it's going to be a long day in Lambeau.
What do you think, Lando? I mean, we're two biased ends of the spectrum here. You got to chime in and be Switzerland here. Give us your honest take.
I think this is the year for Green Bay, honestly. Like I've talked to Scotty about, I've never been a Tom Brady fan. I respect his greatness, don't get me wrong. And we're in a generation, we've seen him win title after title with New England. But I think this is the year for Aaron Rodgers to come back after really people doubted him last year. He didn't have the touchdowns that he normally had. This year, it's an MVP season. He won't be satisfied with just winning the MVP. It'd be kind of just a bittersweet thing. He doesn't care about winning awards. He needs to win a Super Bowl. And maybe he is out of Green Bay next year. Maybe this is the win a Super Bowl and you're out. And I hate to say it, I like the Green Bay played the best defense on paper last year. I do agree that if Tampa's going to have a chance here, their defense needs to step up. They need to step up in a big way, like a real big way. I know it's going to be a great game. I'm excited for the great game. I do have Green Bay winning here. I'm going with Green Bay. That's what I picked in my bracket. And that's what I'm going to stick with. But I won't be sad if the Bucs win because I'm indifferent. I don't want Green Bay to win. I just think they will. For it a swan song for Tom Brady, and I do like seeing Chris Godwin and the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers fan base. I mean, it'd be great if they got into the Super Bowl and all that, but I'm expecting Green Bay to
win. Some interesting pieces here. So there's no Antonio Brown for the Bucs. There's no Keyshawn Vaughn. It's going to be the Rojo Leonard Fournette show, and then they also don't have their safety Antoine Winfield Jr.
I'm surprised about that.
So that is a little bit of a downgrade there for the Bucs secondary. Now for the Packers, they don't have Josh Jackson, but they haven't really played him all year. Jay Sternberger is also going to be out. He also has been very limited. So some big pieces all intact for Green Bay, and they just picked up Tramon Williams, former Packer, bringing him back, signing him and giving him a go. So Kevin King and Tramon Williams will see a majority of the field today with Jair Alexander and Adrian Amos. That Green Bay secondary is really going to try to limit this Bucs passing attack, and the Green Bay Packers can shut down the run. They can force teams to throw, just like they did against the Titans, shut Derrick Henry down. I think they have no problem shutting down Leonard Fournette and Rojo today. So I think Green Bay wins this one handily. If we want to get into some predictions here, I think it's going to be, I can't remember what I tweeted out today, 27-17 I think is what I put as my prediction. If we're going to throw some scores out. Scotty, I'd love to see your narrative come true. I just don't think they get there. I don't think they get the ball enough. I think this is going to be a long day for the defense.
Yeah, I'm going purely with my heart here. As I said, if I had to put money on this going against Aaron Rodgers, I wouldn't feel great. But also every time anyone I know has bet against Tom Brady in the playoffs over his career, hasn't gone well for your pocketbook. I'm seeing this as more of maybe a 2023, I'm going to say, with Tampa pulling off like the 3-point victory. Most like back to the narrative I said about everybody thinking Rodgers is going to come back and win it for the Pack, and then Tampa just surprising everyone on defense.
Go ahead, Lando. You said Packers. What's your score prediction?
My score prediction, so it's a 53-point over-under. The Packers are favored by 3.5 as of right now. Score prediction, I think it'll be a 27-24 victory for the Packers. So I would take the Bucs with the points, but a 3-point victory for the Pack. I don't think it's going to be handily, just because the narrative about Tom Brady in the playoffs.
Like, I hate to say this.
Fun side bet. I bet you we see a touchdown today from Scotty Miller.
Look, with AB not being on the field, he's definitely the guy that should be there. I mean, Landon, I can't remember how long it was ago, but Landon and I said, like, has Antonio Brown really helped this team at all? Yeah, like, he brings the name value. He brings, like, a trusted target. But from what he's done, he's given you, has he really helped? And we broke it down, like, Scotty Miller on his limited work was much more productive than Antonio Brown.
I love Scotty Miller. I think he embodies everything that I think that offense was kind of lacking. And I don't know if Antonio Brown honestly fits the mold as much as Scotty Miller, but it'd be hard to debate that you would start someone like Scotty Miller over the potential Hall of Fame talent of Antonio Brown. But I don't think you lose that much once AB's on the bench.
Yeah, dude, totally. Let's jump over to the Chiefs and Bills. Chiefs and Bills. Now, this one should be, I think, just fireworks. I think it's going to be a thriller game. I'm not going to get into my prediction just yet, but let's go through both sides here and anybody that's not going to be playing today. And Pat Mahomes is cleared concussion protocol quite quick, but it wasn't the head that was the true point of concern. It was the turf toe, and he has been diagnosed with turf toe. So he's going to play today, but he has shown up on the injury report. And then we've got some question marks. Le'Veon Bell being the biggest one. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, is he going to be healthy enough to go? Or can they rely on him? Or are we going to see a lot of Damian Williams and maybe Darwin Thompson? What are your thoughts on that, boys?
Pat Mahomes is going to get a injection in that toe so he doesn't feel any pain. I hope it doesn't limit his ability to pass and huck the ball downfield. I don't think it will. He might not run the ball as much as he could when he needs to. Turf toe is a tough injury. A lot of people are out for extended periods of time, but not when your season is on the line, when a back-to-back Super Bowl is on the line. This should be a great game. I'm not too concerned about the players that are inactive in this game, like you mentioned. Has Clyde Edwards-Helaire been declared out yet? Last time I heard,
he's still questionable. So is Lev Bell. What I'm reading on Twitter from Adam Schefter and other people is that Clyde Edwards-Helaire is expected to play, whereas Le'Veon Bell is not expected to play. So we're gonna really see if those, for dynasty purposes, if those Clyde Edwards-Helaire shares can be recouped any value, right? Because right now, if you were to ask, and we'll get into some rookie talk, but if you were to go down and ask, where does Clyde Edwards-Helaire fall for you in terms of rookie running backs? And I think he's at the bottom for me. Whereas at the beginning of this,
he's probably at the 5 or 6 mark for sure. You would rather just about all the top end guys. Scott and I discussed on our podcast, Cam Akers, DeAndre Swift, Scotty, and obviously Jonathan Taylor. Scott would take Jonathan Taylor over Derrick Henry in a rookie draft right now. These guys have excelled at their respective positions on their respective teams. But I would love to see Clyde Edwards-Helaire play well in this game. As an owner of him in Dynasty, I'd like to see some juice out of him. He hasn't really been exceptional all year. He hasn't shown the burst that we expected him, the receiving prowess as well. I hope he plays. I hope he plays well.
Yeah, I feel like today is actually a game where one side is just steamrolling ahead and must be so confident. And the other side has like a non-zero amount of question marks. I mean, Bills Mafia is so excited. Josh Allen's been looking just unbelievable. They haven't even needed a running back, which is just hilarious.
Throw through the air.
So they're feeling sky high. And then you've got on the other side, Kansas City with, their franchise arguably best in the league quarterback needing, shots to not feel pain. You've got two of their main running backs questionable, one probably at least going to be out. So there's a lot of questions coming into this one. I've talked with a lot of people about it this week, and I keep kind of coming back to, with the narratives once again, my heart, I'm all Bills Mafia. I would love for that franchise to go back to the Super Bowl. They've been so much fun to watch. Watching Josh Allen hit Stephon Diggs has just been like such a joy all season long. The big difference to me, man, betting against Andy Reid is always a bad decision. Like, I know his guys are hurt, but he still has Mahomes. He still has Tyreek Hill. And I just feel like Reid is going to find a way to outcoach and win this and end up in the Super Bowl for back-to-back years. I would love to see the Bills pull it out. I'm starting Josh Allen. I'm starting Stephon Diggs. I think I'm actually I'm starting the Bills D as well because I want this narrative to happen. But my head says Kansas City's going to figure out something to win. But there's a lot of question marks on one side, and the other side is just like, let's keep going. Let's jump through some tables. Like, Devon, get the tables.
Get
Bills
the
Mafia
get the ketchup and
here.
mustard out, fellas.
Absolutely. So, there's a lot of questions. I think it's going to be really close because you hate to see it, and I hope it doesn't happen. But if in the second quarter somebody grabs Mahomes' ankle or he takes an elbow to the head or something and he gets up slowly, then we could see Henny time real quickly because he won't want to come out. But how much is his contract? You can't pull a RG3 here just because the Super Bowl is on the line. So you never want it to come to that. I hope it doesn't. I just want to see the best of the best. I want Allen versus Mahomes, and this will be epic. But you have to admit there's a lot of question marks being thrown around on the Kansas City side of the roster.
Anything is possible if we see some.
Anything.
We got Hunter
possible.
in the chat. Well, he said Mahomes by 20. I wonder if he means AKA the Chiefs by 20. We'll see. I think this has the makings of a thriller. I mean, Buffalo's defense is definitely better than the Chiefs' defense. If you want to go coaching side, Andy Reid gets the nod over McDermott for sure. Josh Allen and Pat Mahomes are on similar levels this year. I mean, you can't take away what Josh Allen has done. His improvement as a passer has been phenomenal. Having Stephon Diggs over the middle reliably has been ridiculous. And now they've got some pieces back like John Brown who can burn it downfield. And your boy Lando, Dawson Knox getting some work around the goal line. This team, in the absence of a run game, is able to move the football at a ridiculous pace. And, I'm not saying that the Bills' offense is on par with the Chiefs, but I think that this is going to be a who can outscore who. When it comes down to defense, I do give a slight nod to the Bills. So I think this one is close. My prediction here, look, this game is more Buffalo-esque today than it is Kansas City-esque. Kansas City, Missouri right now is going to be 41 degrees by 6 o'clock, feeling like 35. It's going to be chilly. Small chance of rain. This speaks more to a Buffalo game for me. I like the Bills to win this one 34-31 in a thriller, going to come down right to the buzzer, and I think Bass knocks one through the uprights to get that dub.
Hey, if we see a Green Bay Buffalo Super Bowl, I mean, that's going to be a ton of fun. It's going to be a shootout.
For my friend group, that's going to be
Tampa.
Pure anarchy. There's a couple of us that are Packers
yeah.
fans. There's a ton of people that are Bills fans being so close to Buffalo, and my mom's a huge Bills fan too. So the fact that we can't get together, because up in Canada we're on lockdown still, the fact that we can't get together for a Super Bowl is criminal. But it's a must.
I know.
That's why we rely on this sort of interaction to stay safe.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. I've got the Chiefs winning. I mean, it's the story of the Bills. Their heartbreaks happen. They have a bright future ahead of them, but I still have the Chiefs winning. And I'm still, if it's going to be Chiefs Packers, I have the Packers winning the Super Bowl. That's going to be what I projected to happen. And I really just want a healthy plays on both sides. That's really because my Vikings are out, like Scotty. I want to see some good football. That's kind of
Hunter,
what I'm
we
saying.
missed the fantasy season too, but we're not too far away from you. Dynasty season is in full swing. Our rookie content is out every single week. We've already done Jamar Chase, Justin Fields, and Monday we are dropping Najee Harris. We got our star of the show, Lando, knocking that video out of the park. So we're right here, man. We got you. He said he also needs a Green Bay Chiefs Super Bowl to be an amazing end to the year. I don't disagree. I think Packers Chiefs or Packers Bills, I'd be happy with either. But I mean, I got to be sympathetic to my boy Scotty here, repping that black and red. I'd love to see your Bucks in it too, Scott. I think this is the first time in a long time where all four teams at this point would make for a really good Super Bowl.
100%.
Yeah, I agree. And that makes me so happy. And that's why I'm really hoping above all else for an injury-free day, because you could, and that's what I figured out while I was trying to make my DraftKings lineup for today. I want the Bucks in there. I think it'd be great. It's in Tampa. The Super Bowl's in Tampa.
Fitting.
Like, you can't make that up. If Tom Brady, is there, possibly one of his last Super Bowl at home in Tampa, like, that would be great. But if not, it's fun to look at these four teams and go, and go, you know what, I'm for it. No matter how today goes, as long as all the, impact players are healthy in 2 weeks, we're in for a heck of a Super Bowl. And that makes me really happy. As a football fan through a tough 2020 season, I think we're going to be treated to a pretty epic Super Bowl. And that's the thing. I mean, obviously, I'm full tilt fire the cannons today, but I will say, and I've said this repeatedly to Mac, watching that Green Bay offense is so much fun. So if they do go down today, there are worse things in the world than watching Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams really out there running around trying to win a Super Bowl. So it's nice. I hate it when teams manage to make it to this point where you're like, anybody but them. If they go to the Super Bowl, just please no. God, no. Please no. Stop. So,
Michael Scott, GIF, no, God, please no.
Toby's it happens back. Every year. There's always someone, and no one has made it through to the four that you want to see.
Breaking news right now, reported from Jake Glazer, I believe it was, that Clyde Edwards-Helaire will be used in rotation with Darrell Williams. I think, I know nobody cares about DraftKings, but I think using a very low-owned Clyde Edwards-Helaire in a tournament setting is a really interesting option, because no one's going to want to use him. No one, he's the least, like you said earlier, Mac, he's the least sparkly rookie out there. Like, nobody likes Clyde Edwards-Helaire. No one liked him going into the draft, but now they liked him when he was taken by the Chiefs. So he's a first-round pick that busted for everyone, and that still lingers in everyone's mind when you select DraftKings players. He's probably going to be like a 5% owned player, and if he gets one touchdown, one screen pass, that's lucky. It has to be lucky, because he's not going to get the volume with Darrell Williams worked in there. I think he's a sneaky play.
Well, and it's so funny. Like, I was talking this morning with a couple of my buddies who are Bills fans, and we were talking about rookies for next year, which is kind of a nice segue into what we're going to talk about next, which is rookies for 2021. But I said, last year, pre-draft, Clyde Edwards-Helaire was my 5th ranked running back. I liked Jonathan Taylor ahead. I liked DeAndre Swift, and I liked J.K. Dobbins a lot. And I can't remember who I had as my 4th. Yes, Cam Akers. I loved these guys for their talent. And then when Clyde Edwards-Helaire got drafted to the Chiefs, we all just, oh my God, this could be fantasy gold. And everyone bought into it. And I think one takeaway I have from this season is that going into 2021, I'm not going to let the landing spot dictate how much variance I have. I don't think that I should have allowed Clyde Edwards-Helaire to surpass Jonathan Taylor because from a talent standpoint, they're nowhere close. But the landing spot led me to believe that there was going to be immediate fantasy success, and it just clearly was not the case.
Yeah, Mac, we seem to say that every year.
But
right?
I think this is the time we learn, Lando.
A.J. Brown was a prime example of Tennessee didn't look like a great spot. Look what happened to Corey Davis. And then on the other side of it, where Alvin Kamara landed in the best possible landing spot to a quarterback that checks down better than anyone. They run the best screen game in the league.
Second round pick, third round pick, end of the second.
Yeah, I thought he was
maybe
later
third.
Than that,
I think
yeah,
he was
either way. Kamara,
like 67th. I want to say. I'll vet that real quick.
I'd like to reference my favorite quote from the 2020 season from our early YouTube installments, the video "What to Do with Clyde Edwards-Helaire," and Landon concluded this segment by saying, "I cannot wait to not take Clyde Edwards-Helaire at the 101."
At the 102, I said, because I knew he was going at the 101. That's what I expected. That's what a lot of people thought.
And Landon, what did you do?
No, because I didn't think I would have the option to take Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I thought my thing was that he would have been gone at that point because at the time, JT was behind Marlon Mack. I mean, obviously, you saw Dobbins behind Mark Ingram. No, these guys had no signs of slowing down to get the opportunity. But we saw right before the season happened in preseason, basically, or after the first game, Marlon Mack goes down. And then obviously the opportunity for Taylor skyrocketed. He actually didn't show how good he was until the second half of the season. But Clyde showed it game one. And that Andy Reid offense, he wasn't used like we thought LaShawn McCoy would have been used. No running back really was productive for Kansas City.
Yeah, like Scott said earlier, like they just throw the ball so much, they run it through the air. Pat Mahomes might throw it 50-plus times today. And hobbled or not, I think he has the arm talent to move that ball.
Well, that's what makes today's matchup so interesting. You literally have two teams that do not need or use like a bell cow back in any form. Like you have a committee and none of them are viable starts right now because they didn't do a running play in Buffalo till the end of the second quarter.
Yeah, it was like 16
last
straight
week.
passes.
They don't even use a running back, and there's two of those teams that are facing off to go to the Super Bowl. Talk about a pass happy leader.
Yeah, talk about the modern NFL. And look, like if Green Bay is able to move the ball like they did last week, time of possession is going to be thin for the Bucs because the run game for the Packers is really set up by their passing game. Whereas I really do think Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones are going to have to be special in order to open things up for the Bucs. I know Green Bay's weakness is on the ground. I just don't have a whole lot of faith in Fournette and in Rojo.
Yeah. So, Mac, we're talking about 2021 rookies. That's our YouTube series all summer long and all off season, I mean to say. Should we get into some of the running backs? I can talk quickly about Najee Harris.
I think what would be fun is, let's go through some. You mentioned two of the top guys, I think, in a tier of their own, Najee Harris and Travis Etienne. Maybe we'll start with those guys. And if anybody in the chat wants to pop in a rookie that they'd like to hear some stuff on, they could do so, and we can give you our initial thoughts. I mean, we've done a pretty decent amount of research. I've watched a lot of film myself, so I can give you my initial takes. But in terms of in-depth research, we've really just done a deep dive so far on Jamar Chase, Najee Harris, which is coming out Monday, and Justin Fields.
Yeah, so a lot of websites you'll see have Travis Etienne ranked higher as the number one overall running back. But what I saw on film, what I saw when they played each other, Najee Harris, for me, is that good at all. He's big and strong. He He can hurdle guys. He's a 6'2" man that can hurdle defenders. He's got a mean stiff arm. And he doesn't have to me personally, I'm not expecting him to be outstanding at the combine where Travis or their pro days, because there's not
no combine
going to be a combine. Travis Etienne is going to wow people at the combine. I think his burst, his speed is the reason why people will have him number one. He had the luxury of playing with Trevor Lawrence pretty much his entire career and have an opportunity early on where Najee Harris had to be behind guys like Josh Jacobs and Damien Harris. So Najee really didn't show what he could do until his junior and senior year. I do believe he's the most well-rounded running back in this class. He's not, to me, going to blow anyone away. Now that I'm thinking about this, remember how Mark Ingram, they're both Alabama boys. Mark Ingram was great for fantasy football for many, many years, but he wasn't an all-star. Najee is better than Mark Ingram, in my opinion, but I think those two players, it's funny, we did a comparison, but now I'm thinking of Mark Ingram being kind of similar in that way, where he's going to be a great running back for fantasy. It doesn't matter where he lands because he'll fit into any scheme, in my opinion, because he can catch out of the backfield. He's a power running back. He can do everything you need to do. He's the most well-rounded running back in this class. That's why I have him number one. But Najee Harris is an excellent prospect, but people are gonna feel Travis Etienne out.
No, most certainly. And I think between Etienne and Harris, that I really don't think there's a whole lot of difference there in terms of maybe fantasy ceiling. Like who's better equipped for the NFL game? I think Najee right off the bat, just for his size and stature. Like he's 6'2", 230. People will comp him as a smaller Derrick Henry. And you said in the video that you don't think that's a fair comparison. Neither do I. I think stylistically they're very different players. I think Najee has a little bit more finesse and a bigger range of skills than Derrick Henry has. Derrick Henry's just a guy that can wear you down. As Scott's been shouting from the rooftops for years. You give Derrick Henry 25 to 30 carries, he's going to wreak havoc on a defense. He's going to tire you out, and we've seen that over the last 2 seasons. He's the rushing leader for a reason. I comped him to more of like a Matt Forte style. And I think that's right in line with your comp of David Johnson. Guys that are bigger and can be physical, but are also pretty competent pass catchers. And Najee Harris, we've seen that part of his game over the last 2 seasons at Alabama really come to the forefront. And if he can continue that, I think those comps fall right in place. So whether you take Etienne or Harris as one or two or one, whatever, I'm not gonna fault you for that. I think you're well within your rights to think so. There's definitely a tier break for me though in this class, going from running backs 1 and 2 down to 3 and 4. And a lot of people are really high on Javonte Williams right now out of North Carolina. And then Kenneth Gainwell out of Memphis, the guy that was behind Darrell Henderson for seasons. We're still waiting on Breece Hall to declare.
I really hope he does.
He'll be my number 3.
I think he'll be right up there.
He'll be my number 3 if he does.
Yeah. I think there's this tier of the second tier of guys that could be in the conversation. How Antonio Gibson broke out this year. He, by all stretch, wasn't a sure thing. His usage in college wasn't going. Now, we loved him. We talked about him. Mike Wright loved him. We wanted Antonio Gibson in a lot of places. I bid on him in an auction league. But they're far from sure things. And that's what the Javonte Williams, Kenneth Gainwell, and Breece Hall are going to be to me, where the top tier is going to be a Dobbins type, where those are the athletes you want, those are the running backs you want to build your dynasty teams around.
Yep.
But you have to have some of these flyers. I hate to bring him up again, but Alvin Kamara was far from a sure thing, but you need to have those flyers. And Justice Hill was a flyer for me that did not work out, and they took a better running back in the following year.
Alvin Kamara was the third pick of the third round, 67th overall. I was correct on the number. I was wrong on the round.
Right.
Yeah.
So these guys are going to be third-round picks as well, third or fourth-round picks. They're not going to go. I don't think they're going in the second round.
No.
There's also we also talked about it on the pod that I do feel this past year and the rookie class from this year has set pretty unattainable expectations, I feel, for the crop of 2021 rookies. Because the fun thing was everyone was calling this the deepest wide receiver class, in years. And then the running backs come out, and between Dobbins, Akers, JT, and then even Swift towards when healthy and utilized, like having that many running backs who were relevant in the fantasy playoffs and actually will have helped a large group of fantasy owners win their leagues. You just can't expect that next season there's even going to be two running backs that come out and carry their fantasy teams the way Akers and Dobbins and JT just pulled teams by their teeth.
No,
to the finals.
It was a special running back class for sure.
And then don't even get me started on Jefferson and 5 other relevant wide receiver rookies in the same year.
Right.
This was insane.
This was an outlier.
It was awesome. Yeah, it was awesome.
I got my boy Matty in the chat. He said, "How many points do the Packers win by? 1,000, million, more?" I think 10. I was texting
10,000.
with Matty this morning. It's 27-17 that came out of my mouth. That's what the gut tells me. But
I think it's going to be close. I do think that Tampa's D is at least going to show up. Can they stop them? That I'm not going to say that Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams can be stopped right now, but I do think they're going to put up a fight.
yeah, it's fair. Hey, we'll see.
Defense wins championships, baby. Just ask 03.
Packers defense is better all around. So, number 1 offense, top 10 defense. Thank you very much. If you're playing Superflex leagues, obviously your first overall pick should be Trevor Lawrence. And then behind, you're probably going to have Justin Fields not too far. Would you still take Najee Harris or Travis Etienne over Trevor Lawrence?
In a Superflex
league?
I'm taking
T-Law?
Lawrence and Fields ahead of the running backs.
Okay, interesting.
And then I'll go running backs. I'll go Jamar Chase, potentially Devonta Smith, and then I'll go with Zach Wilson, BYU quarterback, before I go to the tight end or more wide receivers.
Okay.
That's kind of how, in a Superflex league, I see the first round kind of going out. I think Justin Fields is phenomenal.
Yeah. With Matt Stafford officially parting ways with the Lions, they're going to work on a trade. I don't think they get a trade done. I think Matt Stafford will be dropped, and like the Lions are trying to get a first for him. I don't think that happens. I think that's crazy town. But Matt Stafford's going to be on a new team. The Lions are going to definitely use their pick. I think, what do they have, 7? I think they have the 7th pick or 8th pick. They're going to use that for a quarterback. It's either going to be Zach Wilson or Trey Lance, most likely they'll go with. Because Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence are going to go before that. I think that's safe to say. We said T-Law is going to go 1 to the Jags. And then if Justin Fields fell to 4 and fell in line with the Falcons, that would be great. We never know what Miami will do at that 3rd spot, because you and I said, like, if they lose out on Penny Sewell at 2, the Jets don't go with Justin Fields, and the news that Deshaun Watson wants to go there.
Yeah, that's an interesting. Do you think the Jets trade the number 2 pick for Deshaun Watson?
Well, that's very possible. That's very possible.
Because if Deshaun has explained that he wants to go to the Jets, and it's a great landing spot for if he likes it, he wants to go there. I mean, the Jets haven't really had this opportunity for many years to acquire this kind of talent. Yeah. They would be giving up an all-time offensive tackle, but do they make it work? And it might take more than the 102.
Oh, no, it'll certainly take more than the 102.
Yeah,
certainly.
So whether it's 2 first-round picks, if you're a Jets fan or a Deshaun Watson fan, what do you think about this?
if you're a Jets fan, you got to be thrilled at the idea, because Deshaun Watson is a clear upgrade over Sam Darnold. And you roll with Sam Darnold, but you upgrade that offensive line position with Penny Sewell. Fine. Sam Darnold has more protection and can work, but what's that worth? Whereas Deshaun Watson is special regardless. We've seen how good he can be in Houston behind a broken and battered line. Right?
Yeah.
So to me, Deshaun Watson is the clear upgrade in the most logical sense.
Yeah, and I mean, the Dolphins are also an interesting spot, and the 103 needs to be on the table for him. Maybe the 103 in Tua kind of thing. I think this is a great opportunity for Deshaun Watson to get out of Houston. That's where he doesn't want to leave, or he wants to leave, and for the other teams to really be able to rebuild as well, and get some draft capital. For the Jets, I think they can also now trade Sam Darnold for potentially late first, early second round pick for Sam Darnold for a young quarterback.
Matt saying, is anybody on the Bucs? What about the impact of no AB? Also, weather hurt snow, but it looks fine now. I'll go in reverse order. So in terms of snow, there is a decent chance of snow. Right now it's about -2 or like 30 degrees Fahrenheit, with feels like -7 or what's that, like 22. So it's starting to get a little bit colder. There is no AB. The impact of that, I mean, he really hasn't been a huge integral piece of the offense. It's been really a focus on that run game, and then using the trio of Gronk, Godwin heavily, and Mike Evans for those contested catches. So when you look at it, AB really hasn't produced a whole lot for this Bucs team. Scotty Miller has been the better tertiary receiver, so I don't think that Antonio Brown on or off the field makes a huge impact on the game. But the Bucs are missing their safety, one of their starters, and the Packers are loaded at the secondary. They just picked up Tramon Williams, former Green Bay Packer from years ago. They just picked him up off waivers, so he's slotted in to help out Kevin King, Adrian Amos, and Jair Alexander. Scotty's on the Bucs, though, as you can see by the jersey. He's a huge Bucs fan. And if we had our old co-host Mark with us, we can't see that trash. If we had Marky on the show, our old co-host, it would be 2-1. I would need Landon to pop on a jersey to balance this thing.
Hey, I've got the Green Bay yellow on right now.
And then Griff.
How dare you put on the Green Bay yellow?
Well,
it's one thing to cheer.
There's
for the
some
Bucs.
yellow in those Bucs jerseys.
I cheer for the
There's
Packers.
some yellow. That's Lando's play, though. He likes to be Switzerland. He's like, it could be Bucs yellow too, yellowish orange. Griff said, not championship related, but the Rams have signed the GOAT, Duck Hodges.
Oh.
And the most irrelevant piece of news of the week goes to Griffin.
Easily.
I mean, if we wanted to talk Dwayne Haskins too, going to Pittsburgh now, we could discuss some more irrelevant
future
news.
of the franchise.
God, do you want to get into some of the wide receivers
I do. Yeah. Because I think this is where between a lot of drafters is going to be a lot of discrepancy. With the quarterbacks, it's Trevor Lawrence, it's Justin Fields, tier break. For the running backs, it's Najee Harris, it's Travis Etienne, tier break. Wide receivers, there's a little bit of polarity there. Oh, in the tight end position, it's Kyle Pitts and nobody else. Don't even waste your draft capital on anybody else. But when it comes down to the wide receivers, you got Jamar Chase, you got Devonta Smith, you've got Rashad Bateman, Seth Williams, Rondale Moore. The list goes on and on and on. Jalen Waddle, Terrence Marshall. Look, it's a crazy list. It's a crazy list. So, I think for me, I'll speak for myself first. We've already done our video. Actually, I can speak for everybody. We've already done our video on Jamar Chase. He's our number one across the board. I think for this group, that's where the consensus ends. Because my two is probably different than your two.
Well, my two is going to be kind of chalky. It's going to be Devonta Smith. He was the Heisman Trophy winner. I think he's the guy that can do it all. His stature with his height and weight is an exception to the rule. You don't see too many 175-pound receivers really make it in the NFL. you need to be bigger. He's 6'1". That's not the outlier. He's a very slender guy. Yeah. So now he broke the rules in college. Can he do that in the NFL? That's going to be the decision. He's got great hands. He kind of reminds me, if you go with his ceiling play, I know it's another Alabama boy, but Calvin Ridley. Calvin came out as a senior. They're probably right around the same height. Maybe Ridley might be a couple inches taller, but I feel like he's going to work the field very similar to Calvin Ridley. I wasn't big on Calvin Ridley, but I did acknowledge that he was probably one of the best receivers besides maybe DJ Moore in that draft class, and he's turned out to be phenomenal. But that's going to be the Devonta Smith's going to be divisive because he is a senior. He excelled at a historically good offense at Alabama. He's great. You can see every game you watch of Devonta Smith this year, nobody can guard him. Nobody. So he's a film guy's dream. Just on like as a physical stature and how he's probably going to test at his pro day, he's not going to blow anyone away, I don't think.
And honestly, I don't disagree with you on a whole lot of those points. I think he's very special from a skill set standpoint, but his physical makeup does bother me. It is a point of concern because when you're playing in college, you're playing against some of the best athletes in the country. When you go to the NFL, you are playing against the best of the best. And I think Devonta Smith is going to struggle in the NFL with physicality. I think when you look at a guy in this class who I would rather have going to the NFL game who has less gaps to fill, I think I'd rather go with Rashad Bateman.
Yeah.
I mean, he's bigger. He is stronger. He weighs more, and he checks all the boxes too. He didn't win the Heisman, right? But he's big, he's fast. His contested catch radius is fantastic. He has the ability to make the big special play. Like you watch some of his tape, his route running is polished. He can make those one-handed catches. And at 6'2", I mean, he's a specimen. I like Rashad Bateman much more so than I like Devonta Smith. So at 2, I would go Rashad Bateman over Smith, and that's why I think that there's going to be some polarity here between the rankings.
Scotty, like we said, you already have Jamar Chase up there. What are your thoughts? Is there a tier break, or do you think there's a kind of a big tier at the top?
I think for this draft, that's why I was kind of setting the expectations compared to like the draft class we just had. I think there's massive tier breaks. And I know for myself, when I'm getting ready for all my rookie and dynasty drafts, I'm really going to have to go heavy for need, because I think if I miss my guys at the top, the drop is substantial. So the idea that there would be 5 running backs who are making impacts this season, absolutely not. I'd be amazed if literally both of the top 2 in that tier can pull it off, because I try to remind people of, and I know you and I are good devil's advocates, because Landon, looking at rookie fantasy football players, is Christmas Day every day, and I'm usually the pail of like cold water. And I mean I got roasted this year because I kept saying there's no preseason, there's no camps, it's all Zoom. Like, how are they supposed to get into that NFL mindset? These rookies are going to just fall down out of the gate. And then I was exposed. But this year, I really do think you're seeing a lot of like top 2 quarterbacks, top 2 running backs. I think Max said it well. Like, we're looking at a couple, maybe top 2 wide receivers. And I think this will be a much more conventional fantasy draft, as far as like there will be a couple guys that come out of the gate and really help teams. But there'll be a lot of guys that are more depth plays, and it'll be a lot harder to actually hit on, say, 10 fantasy starters in the 2021 season. So it's an interesting draft year. I think it's going to be more traditional to what we've seen in the past, where you get a handful. We're counting one hand worth of really viable fantasy starters, and the rest will take time to really mature into every down starters.
See, personally for me, I think at quarterback, running back, tight end, there's clear breaks. I think when it comes to the wide receivers, there's probably like 5 guys worthy of being in the top tier. Do you agree? Like, I would look at the top of the tier for me. Jamar Chase is certainly there, but like if I fade Devonta Smith and he's like 4 for me, and I include Jalen Waddle in there, like I think Jalen Waddle is quite good, and I think a lot of people discount him because of his injury. He missed a lot of the season.
Yeah,
he ran around in that national championship game hobbled, and people are saying, look how special Devonta Smith is. If you look at the splits of the first 4 games of the year, Jalen Waddle outpaced Devonta Smith. He was equally impressive. He was equally productive and scored more touchdowns in that stretch. So when you look down the list, Chase, Smith, Rashad Bateman, Rondell Moore, and then you throw in Jalen Waddle. Between those 5, I think there is a really like comparable list of ceilings. That's what we're saying here. What is the best possible scenario for them? And I think they all have it.
Right.
But they're all different types of receivers. Like Rondell Moore is a fast little shifty Tyreek Hill type player. And then you've got an archetype like Jamar Chase that's just the alpha. So we'll see.
Yeah, either way, I'm excited. Like Scott said, this is Christmas for me. Looking into these guys, see how the draft narratives kind of pan out, how the NFL draft is. I talked to you guys, and I'm serious. I'm probably going to take the day after the draft as a vacation day and just like grind these players, get some reaction videos out. We're going to get my instant reaction, some long-term, some fantasy projections out early so that we can help you guys, the listeners and gals, of course, to get you really ready for your rookie drafts, because this is what I live for. This is why I do this, guys.
I'm convinced Landon would start all rookies. He would go in all rookie squad if he could, every year.
So I just found on Twitter that Breece Hall is not declaring. He's going to return back to Iowa next year.
Yeah, that's terrible. That's too bad. As Heisman Trophy, not Heisman,
Doak Walker.
A Doak Walker finalist. Yep. I wanted to see him declare for the draft. I don't think it's a good idea for these guys to go back to college if they're eligible to play.
Look what happened to Chuba Hubbard.
Man, he would have been right in the conversation with all these guys. Yeah, he might have been.
But had Chuba,
he would have been 6 or 7.
Chuba declared last year. He was like, given that running back class, he might have said, maybe I'll go back a year and try to be a little bit more productive, refine my game, and not get lost in the running back mix. And then this year, like, his stock plummeted. People are going to want to hear things about Chuba Hubbard, but I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to be great for me. He's not going to be at the forefront of my draft capital. He's probably going to be running back 6-ish for me, most likely.
Yeah, that sounds about right. You'll probably get him in your rookie drafts in the early to mid-second round.
Yeah, that's probably very fair. Wonderful.
Ooh, 10 minutes, Mackie.
Feeling good, boys. Feeling
good.
Excited. Feeling real good. I can't wait.
I'm excited to watch this game as well. I'm packing up. I'm ready to go, but I'm glad we did this live stream for everyone to come by and hang out, talk some playoff football, some championship football. Max got Bills minus 2.5 and Pack plus 3 this weekend. So I'm not a big betting guy when it comes to over-unders and totals and wins losses. I'm big into the DraftKings daily fantasy.
You got any big plays for the weekend, Lando? Maybe some low-owned guys that you're rolling out there?
I mean, with the news coming out about Clyde, he's an interesting play. Going for running backs, if you want to really pay down, I think going with a guy like TJ Yeldon at $4,000 might be an interesting play, just because, I mean, going Devin Singletary, I know he's not that expensive, but they don't use him. You're pretty much hoping for a touchdown out of TJ. It's tough, or you can go the opposite way and go high end. You go with the Aaron Jones. I like A.J. Dillon today as well if he gets into the end zone. I don't think people are going to play him that much against Tampa Bay. But it's tough. It's this. I don't have too many lineups in play this weekend. I've got the local one we do with our pals, and then I've got a few $3 entries. But I've really died down my play on DraftKings lately.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, well, listen, guys, thanks so much for coming by. Like we said at the beginning of the stream, we are rolling out rookie content each and every Monday. So 9 a.m. on Mondays, our new content premieres this week. We are featuring Najee Harris from the Alabama Crimson Tide. Really, really special prospect. Probably going to be the running back 1 or 2 for a lot of you in upcoming fantasy drafts, whether that be rookie or redraft. In terms of rookie, he's going to be 1 or 2. So you want to make sure you get that content and get that analysis from Lando. He knocked that one out of the park. Good luck for everybody in their DFS, in their bets, as well as if you're just a casual fan like me and Scotty. Good luck to your teams. Hopefully you come out happy today, but I think regardless of who wins, we're going to have a great Super Bowl with Bucs, Packers, Bills, Chiefs as the potential combination. So for myself and the boys, have an awesome weekend. We'll see you in maybe 2 weeks. We'll do a Super Bowl live stream if you're interested for that.
I feel like we need to get the boys together for a little. If we're not gonna be able to have a Super Bowl party, we at least should have an hour Super Bowl stream.
We'll make that happen. So we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Have a good one today, and we'll see you soon.